us. Got it. Accepting this invitation. I am a brand and web designer, Claire. So we were talking a little bit about social media before this came on. I am really aware about lead generation on social media, and I'll touch on that more later in this presentation and invite you to ask any questions at the end. But with gentle marketing, not my term, although I am totally claiming it as my own now. There is a different view that I want to present against the traditional marketing sales generation. So without further ado, I kind of want to like wave my little freak card in the air. And I love all things like spiritual and occult. So one of the things that I do frequently is pull tarot cards on like situations and things. And so I pulled a few cards while I was putting together this deck, and it blew my mind. So the Page of Swords, he's like new endeavors, enthusiasm. So many of the clients that I work with are the Page of Swords, in that they're starting something new that they're super passionate about. And it's not like the Fool. I don't know if anyone else knows tarot very well, but it's like a lot of newness energy. The Page of Swords, he's just ready to dive in. And then I pulled Abundance, the Empress. I thought, oh, that just means Susan Adamson is going to be here. She's like the mother baby. She was my coach when I was pregnant with my daughter, Freya. So I'm like, oh, that just means Susan's going to be here. So I'm surprised to not see her on Zoom, but really abundance and making the most out of things from the earth, from our own talents, from our own bodies. And then the community one, which I think represents Wellness Connect so well, because it's this meeting of minds, this sharing of knowledge, and this sourcing of resources where two become one in a greater sense. Now, my first job in design was working as a wedding invitation designer. And this was the best crash course in marketing and understanding people, like working with brides on how they wanted their event to feel, to look like, to signal a certain amount about what the couple was about, what the event was about, everything from what to expect, what to wear, what to bring. I mean, all those things needed to be communicated in wedding invitations. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was going to take so much of what I learned in that job and bring it to my practice as a branding and a web designer. So on to gentle marketing. It really is about making the formal invitation to those you care about to go on a journey together. And Claire, when we were talking before, I hear so much about like the shoulds and the coulds of marketing. Like I should be on Facebook, I should be doing like dancing on TikTok. And I felt like that was a missed opportunity for business owners having the power to just be you and to show up in a space that you care about, and how that changes things when you show up generously and authentically. And if dancing on TikTok is not authentic, I mean, there's the disconnect right there. Oh, you're so familiar with this. This is the traditional sales marketing funnel. And this is actually something that I coached on and practiced for a really long time. I can automatically think of a business in this terms of how are people going to become aware of that business? What is then going to convert them to the website? On the website, what is the main call to action that is then going to bring them into being a client? And that is the traditional sales marketing, where awareness leads to sales. And there was a lot of opportunities that were missing with this. So my new model of gentle marketing, because I had to have a diagram, it's a little bit more organic. So this is gentle marketing. And instead of the stages coming through the funnel, I like to think of it in 3 parts: be, attract, and serve. How is this feeling, everyone? Not of heads.
Oh, how I feel it. Wow. It's absolutely. And I love the image that you have.
Oh, thank you. I'll break it down for you more. So the first part of dental marketing, the B, this is my favorite story because I have a lot of clients with higher education degrees. I work with a lot of lawyers, therapists, or even people who have been in their field for a really long time. Like, these are very smart people. And I hear this so often when they're first going out on their own of, maybe I'm too niche, maybe this is kind of wild, I don't know if this is going to work. It all comes down to this fear about being, if that's going to resonate with the right people. And so my favorite example is Karina Garcia, and she is the slime queen on YouTube. She just like retired her parents, moved them into a brand new house, makes millions of dollars making slime videos on YouTube. And I'm still having conversations with, somebody who's been in practice for 20 years about whether or not they can make it on their own as a business owner. Like, this is mind blowing. I mean, if Karina Garcia can do all of that, making slime, which she obviously is very good at, she's passionate, she's engaging, she works it, then you can do what you're good at. You can be you, just how you are, and that can be enough, and that can be successful. So
That's so beautiful. In
I
yoga, when I talk to the new teachers who are graduating from the program, what the recommendation is that I received was, don't change your yoga to attract people, be authentic in your style of yoga. And those who are attracted to what you offer, they'll find you. So just be authentic to what you are and how you express yoga. Don't worry about anything other than that.
And I feel like what you just said is like burnout prevention right there too. Because all the time when I was trying to force this model of traditional marketing and become more numbers driven, because that's what I was supposed to care about, it was a burnout risk for me. And when I keep on doing things that I think are just part of it, that I have to be, that I should, that I could, that's inauthentic to me, that's the way that I just totally tap out because I'm drained. So I feel like it all has to start with you feeling safe to be you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the part of the B is you are you. You know what you do. Everyone that I've ever worked with has been a master at the thing that they do, and they could have just started their business yesterday. It didn't come from nowhere. It came from, lifelong passion for helping people in a particular way that they then backed up with education, experience, interviewing people, getting that knowledge. And that is very authentic to themselves. So you know what you know, and you have unique strengths and views. Now, in the summer of 2020, I joined a mastermind group for Rachel Rodgers, and she just published a book called We Should All Be Millionaires. She really came to rise when she went on this, how do I say it? Like, it wasn't a rant. It was very, what's the word? Like rational, not rational, but like, it was this beautiful, elegant town hall that she put together with Sonia Renee Taylor. And Sonia Renee Taylor, she wrote The Body Is Not an Apology, amazing book. And so she hosted this town hall after just the race issues of the summer of 2020. And she gained all of these views and people who came into her mastermind. I was one of them. And it was such a powerful experience. But if she had not said anything as a Black woman, that would have been a missed opportunity. And the fact that she has these unique views and strengths became such a game changer in her business. So be yourself. And then Claire, a little bit of marketing, it's your unique selling proposition, USP, right? So the second part of dental marketing is attract. And the premise of that is that you exist in this community. You know, Wellness Connects is a community, Facebook is a community, which you might or might not be existing in, or TikTok, LinkedIn, the school library that you volunteer at. I mean, we have communities that we exist in as human beings. And like in a community, there's going to be people that you really, really get along with. And also people who are like, that person is way too woo-woo for me. I'm going to go head on over to this part of the room. So my judgy person says, shouldn't marketing be numbers driven? She could stick it there. And then there's people who are like people like me, and they love what I offer. And this very low-key confidence that I'm always attracted to. So within gentle marketing, this idea that you are you, that needs to be the core of it. And then you attract people who like you, and you also repel people who don't. And being okay with that can sometimes feel very fragile and scary. And it's also the work that needs to be done in order to feel like you can be more you, is letting the other people fall away and find other groups and communities that they will be a part of. And we're focusing in on the people who are just naturally attracted to us, being us. You know, maybe it's making the spelling errors that I always seem to make, or, you know, throwing out the F-bomb on a regular. That's me too. So if anyone has sensitive ears, it might come out. But we have like this natural magnetism to us when we're just being ourselves. And we need to find this way in our businesses to not feel the scarcity of going after people who are naturally never going to be attracted to who we truly are, not the fake Lacey that I sometimes pull out.
I love how you say that, Lacey. Like, it can feel scary to not try to please everybody and cater to everybody, but in buying into the fear, then you lose the authenticity.
Yeah.
Right? I love how you say that it can feel scary, but you know, trust that you'll attract those that you need to.
That's the opportunity of the internet too. I hear so often people who are just done with social media, and I'm right there along with you. But when social media becomes beautiful is when you realize that you can be whoever you want to be, and there will be this natural falling away, unfollowing, or just not even following in the first place. And that's part of the process. That's part of being in community, is that there's people who are going to be attracted to you and people who are going to fall away from you. But where things get corrupted, I feel, is when we focus too much on the people who unsubscribed, unfollowed. You know, I had a client who talked about like, there were 5 people who unsubscribed from my newsletter, and I am best friends with the second one. And it hurts. And at the same time, it's like, well, let's take a look at all the new people who did decide to subscribe. Let's focus on that. What are they looking for from you? What are they looking to you for that you want to serve them with that feels authentic? And not chasing so much. I feel like so much of my early career in this was about packaging myself in a way that would be more digestible for other people to like. And I was chasing, like, if they needed WordPress, I would go out and learn WordPress. If they needed this, then I would learn that. And it, you know, was good in that it inspired a lot of education for me, especially in the early days. But now what I'm doing is trying to figure out how I can be more of myself. What are my natural talents and inclinations, and letting everyone else just get away.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Because when we have that recognition of who has that natural attraction to us, we can almost like form this circle, right? And that becomes our serve circle. And our energy becomes more potent and concentrated when we're serving the people who are naturally attracted to us. Like the people who are like, I want to hear more from you. I go on this tear on TikTok. I was learning it this summer and I just was having fun creating these cleaning TikTok videos. It was super fun. And the purpose of that for me was just to learn how to create new types of content. I wasn't selling anything. I didn't have any big dreams for it, but it became fun just to learn inside that container and serve the people that followed. And I had a few messages saying like, I love these, keep it up, keep going, which is really fun. So serving that group of people who are attracted to and not trying to catch all of them, because this is where people become uncomfortable niching down, I feel, is that they're worried if they don't encapsulate a service container for all the people who come into contact with, that they're not going to be able to find any clients at all. And what happens is, and it goes against every instinct, I recognize that, when we encapsulate the people that we know we can care for in a truly unique and powerful way, everything becomes better. And there's an expansion that happens from inside the container instead of trying to chase down and bring people in.
That is so brilliant, Lacey.
Thank
The way you describe it, and I feel the truth of it. The energy does become more potent when, yeah, and then it grows from the inside out. That's wow.
And I want to get a few testimonials on the book. So if anybody's ready, if they have tried traditional marketing techniques and maybe have experienced some burnout. But what I feel like is going to be said is that it just became easy. I couldn't, like, I'm at a place right now where I've only been really practicing this for a few months, and I'm thinking about closing down my books for the winter because I'm so busy. Like, it just becomes, I haven't been posting on social media. I haven't been doing much at all. It just becomes this energy that becomes so magnetic, and it just feels really good. And when you feel good, you do better work and you have better conversations, and people are changing around me and the conversations are changing and becoming more powerful. And I feel like now I'm hitting this stride in my profession that I was never able to get when I was really pretending to be somebody else because I thought that would be the best way to serve my clients.
So beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. I'm gonna cry, but it really is like a profound difference, because on the outside looking in, what has changed? I probably become more of a hermit, but from the inside, I really am making those connections in a genuine way and putting myself out when I feel great. And that's been a huge shift. So what makes you great at gentle marketing? Feeling safe being yourself, that's like the number one thing. I told Sonia when we were just getting set up that this whole gentle marketing thing for me came from a lot of personal development work that I did over the summer. And I can't stress the importance of being a business owner and feeling safe being yourself. And if you don't feel safe being yourself, finding support for that. For me, it was therapy and Reiki and a lot of movement and finding things that really stabilized my nervous system, like going for a walk on the beautiful river trail that's outside of my apartment. That makes me feel safe. And then I come back to work and I feel like I can show up in a way that I've never been able to show up before. And then open to attract others and letting other people go on their way. This realization that you're not for everyone. What's that shirt that's going around that's like viral? It's like, you're not tacos. Like, not everyone's gonna love you. Yeah, well said. Inviting people to the transformation that you offer. And I've followed a lot of talented copywriters. When people go to a website and are moved to make a buying decision, that conversion rate that we're always desiring, right? They talk about the transformation that is offered, and then they make an invitation to the person to come experience that transformation. So it's no longer Reiki, it's feeling safe being yourself. And I invite you to come in for a 60-minute session of experiencing that, knowing that in your core, and then living your life from that belief, all starting with 60 minutes. That is an invitation, and that's how we invite people into our businesses and our practices so that they can have that change that they desire, that they want to make. So
It personalizes it for people, right? Like you were
yeah,
just saying, it makes it very personal to them.
right. One marketer once said that, this is back when there were travel offices, when people put down their deposits for a trip, they're not buying the airfare and getting to Bermuda, they're buying the idea of going to Bermuda before they're there. So they're not buying the service that they offer, they're really buying the experience of being at the place that they can have when that's no longer, the challenge is no longer the challenge. So the more that we can tap into the transformation that is available to people, for me, it's people being able to look at their professional services and connect with others in a way that leads to client interactions and just a feel good business. Like my clients want, there's many ways to get to a successful business, but for them, success means connection and community, importance, and more client success, more patient success. So be, attract, serve as a new model of marketing. On my blog, I've started a series called How to Grow a Business. I'm still working on it. And these are the steps that I would take from beginning to end on how to grow a business. And these are the steps that I lead clients through on a daily basis around branding, web development. I don't do social media marketing. However, I will be posting more about how I think about those platforms and some strategies if you wanted to use them. Just to kind of throw out an example, it's not up on the blog yet, but Facebook, love it. Love Facebook because you can do what I call a skeleton existence on Facebook, where you have a business profile, and then you can go and exist in the communities that you exist in, and people can make referrals to your business page with very little maintenance, like maybe throw in a blog article or a hey, how you're doing every so often. But I love strategies like that, that respect your time, your energy, but that also give you ways to get referrals and for community to happen. And that's my presentation. I also want to mention that wellnessconnects.net has some updates where you can find your profile, and it is organized by modality. And if there are any, what would you say, edits, there's an email for Sonia on there, which your profile can be edited. And yeah, it's a great tool to look up and find other wellness practitioners in your area and within the group.
Yeah, and by the way, Lacey did my website and my logo. She designed my logo for me, which I absolutely love, and so many people comment on. And I'm so grateful to you for all that help. And I'm so inspired on your presentation. I would love for you to do this for the graduate, the people in the yoga teacher training program. When we do the business section, because this is exactly what it's all about. And that end piece that you're talking about, the transformation, that's what moves us, right?
The ever becoming.
The ever becoming. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Yeah, there's magic to it. And I feel like this is like the work, right? It's feeling comfortable being you and letting that be expressed and finding people to enjoy that with.
And it's true of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
as on our life's journey. being okay being us and not being scared to be our authentic self.
Eventually you get to the point where you can't help but do that. What the?
I heard about that. Kathleen Yao Wells is a good friend of mine and an inspiration for how to become completely authentic in
Yeah.
Absolutely.
in
Yeah.
conversations, in your business and everything. What
Yeah.
you see is what you get with her, and I love that.
Yes. I'm just blown away by your presentation. I just love it so much, and the imagery that you use for the gentle marketing.
Oh,
Phenomenal.
You gentle marketed it.
I did. I mean, I love a good sales funnel. I don't think that'll ever change. And I probably will see all like business growing through that. But when you start attaching numbers to things that are so personal, and I feel like the traditional marketing model was really just for big corporations, for people to verify their, validate their paychecks. And when it came to practitioners like us, all I did was see it burn people out. And to be a part of that, like I never was the type of marketer who says you need to be on social media, you need to be on Facebook, you need to be on this, that. I always presented it as an opportunity. But even opportunities, like we need a permission slip to opt out if that's
So
not
the funny
right.
thing is, yeah, that's funny. My background is working with very large corporations. So like, the largest advertiser here in the Seattle Tacoma area, it was a client of mine for 20 years. We were literally on every single TV station, every radio station, and everything you can think of. I've worked with Chrysler, I've worked with Kawasaki, so big companies, very different, extremely different than what we're doing. The irony is that we wouldn't be on anything unless we could prove or document. And that's where the research does come in, that the demographic, the psychographics was correct. Was the person going to be in the right mindset when they were participating with that media or in whatever the vehicle was, if it's social media or any platform, that it would complement the brand and complement the sale. I feel like that thinking has been completely thrown out the window when it comes to how individuals like ourselves are supposed to be marketing. And this is where I've been like railing, because it's like, it doesn't make sense that everyone should be on there or doing the same thing. The other thing is that how you are seen to your public should be similar to how you work with your clients. And so I'm not doing major group marketing campaigns or marketing. I don't do groups. I'm a one-on-one practitioner at this point. And so because what I deal with is very specific. And so it doesn't make sense for me in my mind to do these huge platform webinar kind of things, because that's not how someone's going to be working with me. Ironically, if we were to take some of the same rules that do apply to the large corporations in terms of, because I was responsible for spending millions and millions of dollars, for a campaign or something. And so, yeah, we had numbers. This was my busy season. I was dealing with Nielsen ratings and Arbitron and all of that stuff because I had to justify why we were going to be investing this kind of money. And that's fair. But it's also in a lot of ways a very expensive horse race, because you're looking at all those numbers to try to bet on where do you think your audience is going to be. Another way to look at it is where, when you're doing something, where is your audience coming from? And so it's, which is like, how are they going to find you? Are they going to social media to look for a yoga practitioner, or are they doing a Google search, or is it more likely that there was a referral or something like that? So it's just, you have to kind of think about like what's going on in the mindset of your potential client avatar, as it will. And so that's, but it is hard to do. You have to think like your client, like, oh, when they're having that problem, what is it, what's going through their mind to do
Could I
that?
give,
But, and it's,
Can I give you a line of
go
inquiry?
ahead.
that would be helpful?
I'm kind of like, what do you recommend? Because
heard
I know how
that,
to big stuff, not the little stuff.
Right. So this is more psychographic stuff.
Yes.
I talked about knowing the transformation and making an invitation to your clients. And if you think that's what I'm about to say, it's not. Before people come into our practices, there's a mini transformation that needs to happen, whether it's believing in themselves. My packages or what I offer start over $1,000. So I'm constantly thinking about the transformation that needs to happen in an individual in order to write the check and sign the contract. So I know when somebody does that, they are showing up for themselves. They are ready to go. They are full of excitement. And so when I talk on social media or write my blog posts, I'm thinking about how are they going to make that mini transformation from themselves? Maybe it's not even with me, but for themselves. How can they show up for their business? So the line of inquiry would be like, before somebody shows up, to even call somebody who's going to help them with nutrition. What would be the mini transformation that needs to happen before that? And that's what you come out into, maybe podcasts. You find other communities that are already established, you show up as a guest, and you talk about that transformation that needs to happen before they even consult with a nutritionist. What space of mind do they need to be in? Because then they can show up with a big transformation that you give people.
Yeah, I've been invited to do some national podcasts lately, so that's been interesting too. But usually there's like other panelists, people talking about, so it's usually you're talking about the frustration or the pain points that someone is already at, and then what are some things that they can do when they're sort of at that end of the rope. Where they're like, oh, they're frustrated, describing this is probably the journey you've been on, but there's answers, or there's an alternative way to do this. And that's pretty much how most of those conversations have gone.
It was interesting. I had a client who came in, and he was so kind of burned out of his own healing journey. And he was did a phone consultation with me, and then wasn't quite sure about doing a yoga therapy session, and then was like, can I just come into your office and just talk with you about what's going on for me? And so he came in, and he's just like, I am so tired of trying this and trying that, and it doesn't work. And I've done all these things, and I still have the pain. I just want you, how are you different, or what can you offer that can support me in this? And that's when I just stepped into my authentic self, right? I was like, what I think I can support you with, that's one of my gifts, is helping you to connect with what is greater than yourself, helping to relax into that greater field of awareness, that greater energy. And in that, you're allowing that greater energy to then come in and do what it needs to in your body, mind. And in that, like you said, that was the transformation that he was looking for, where he doesn't have to do it all himself, right? Where there's that greater support, because he's been trying so hard to do it all himself. And it was that extra support that then he's like, okay. And then we had the session right there. So it's just beautiful to have a context in which to frame what happens, right? It's that gentle marketing piece that you just talked about.
We invited him to shift out of the story.
Beautiful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
invited him to shift out of the story that he was in.
I mean, every day people are doing these like brave, courageous, loving, kind things, you know? Like it was incredibly brave of him to show up to a place where, you know, he's just so exhausted and so tired.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. I cry like this, but that is beautiful. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Lacey.
So how are you? Oh, I was supposed to ask, like, so how are you getting in front of people?
I've been doing this for 6 years. And at this point, I feel like a larger ball rolling down the hill. Like I have such a good amount of momentum. And I have just little communities that I keep in touch with. And I got extremely lucky in that I have people in my communities who are just large and loud ambassadors of my work. I somehow got into the law community. I work with a lot of attorneys. And as a web designer, I've heard other web designers like, how did you break into that? How did you do that? And they're a population of people who's very, very resistant to traditional marketing. Their filter is top quality. The gatekeeping on a law firm is unbelievable. But they listen to other lawyers and I got passed around, and that's how I'm able to, you know, grow my business and sustain my business. Yeah, super fortunate for the people that I came in contact with.
That's great.
Including Sonia, she just can't keep her mouth shut about me. Girl.
And one of the women who you created the website has become one of my clients. Law
Awesome.
client. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, Lacey. Really appreciate it. Phenomenal.
It's a beautiful thing you put together. I'm very
Oh,
touched.
thank you so much, Susan. And thank you, Sonia. And thank you, Claire.
Well,
for-
I'm interested. Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk with you offline. I need help and I know exactly what my numbers are supposed to be. Everything I've been trying is just not getting there in a way that I need it to get there. So
Gotcha. Yeah, head on over to my website. There's a book a call.
I'm there right now. Yeah.
Girl,
right
let's
there.
talk.
Yeah.
You can't
I'm
wait.
at the let's chat button. So, okay, perfect.
All right.
I listened to the Trader Joe's podcast, and what do they say at the end of every episode? This podcast is free and worth every penny. It's like my 30 minutes are
That's
free and
cute.
worth every penny.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording, but we can still chat.
Okay.
Is this you? Can you read that?
It's on the bottom right.
So is it the 30-minute Zoom I should be scheduling here?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I don't
because
ever talk to anybody with that many years